Welcome along to Betting Weekly Premier League show. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. So nobody got the 18-team ACCA on Wednesday night then, Nigel. We go again. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Good. Looking forward to the weekend. Premier League title race is hotting up after the result last week for Manchester United's win against Arsenal. And, it's theirs to slip up. Are they going to slip up? Big match this weekend. We'll find out a little bit more at the end of this weekend's fixtures.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Jack, how are you doing? Were you backing the English teams in the in the Champions League in midweek?
Yeah, good day to you both. Good day to everyone. We had Will White inform us, didn't we? And he was very correct in saying how it's very hard to go against the English sides, and the league table showcases that, and their performances have absolutely showcased that as well. So, I think it'll be very surprising not to see at least two or three of those go deep into the competition, but we will see.
Yeah, it's looking very good for an English side to win the Champions League this season for sure. But this is the Premier League show, and as Nigel points out, we've got a really interesting game to kick us off on Saturday, 10 a.m., 3 p.m. local, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's Leeds against Arsenal. Don't know what to do with this one, Nigel, really. Leeds at a plus 550, Arsenal minus 195, the tie plus 320. Gunners without a league win in 3. When does a blip turn into a wobble, turn into something a bit more serious? Are we fading the Gunners at Ellen Road?
Well, I think if you're going to win the title, these are the kind of matches you've got to win. And that's important. And we'll find out a lot about Arsenal's character and their title aspirations after this match. I think they've got the capability to win this match. I think they had the luxury of resting a lot of players in midweek in the Champions League, which was a huge bonus for them. It backfired a little bit by conceding 2 goals, but it didn't really matter. They went through with a perfect winning record. And they're in the box seat of every single tournament they're in. Yep. Remember that. They're in, they're the favourites to win all 4 tournaments. So if you're an Arsenal fan now, don't be too worried just yet. They've got the best squad in the league. They've got the best reserve backup in the league in every position. And they should have enough to beat Leeds. But Leeds will make it difficult. The first 25 minutes are going to be absolutely raucous. We know what to expect at Ellen Road. And it's whether Arsenal... I think Arsenal could... The only way Arsenal will lose is if they implode themselves. And that has been Arsenal's problem in seasons before. Gone to these kind of matches. Ill discipline has cost them and they've got players sent off. Just look at the facts here. I mean, Arsenal are minus 195. Would I be betting Arsenal minus 195? Not a chance. But I do think they'll win. If you offer me minus 130, yeah, I probably might have a bet on that. But minus 195, no way whatsoever. Leeds have only lost 1 in 11 after Farke's changed his system. Done brilliant under him. They've got a goal scorer. They've got a system that works. And they're scoring goals. They scored 12 in their last 13 matches. Leeds have scored in 10 of their 11 home matches this season. And at the wrong time of the season, Arsenal are conceding goals. Always that Arsenal to win to 0 was the go-to bet. Not the case anymore. They conceded 2 against the worst team in the Champions League. Admittedly, last night, they conceded goals in their last 3 matches. And they've only kept 2 clean sheets in their last 11. So, goals for me, over 2.5 is minus 106. Both teams to score yes is plus 102. Of the 2, I'd probably bet both teams to score yes. But Arsenal should have enough to win it. Would I bet them at minus 195? No. I'm going for goals.
Leeds unbeaten and 5 at home. Plus 1 on the Asian line is minus 112 if you're a Leeds bettor or supporter. And plus 1 Leeds at home is a bet that hasn't lost this season. Jack and has won 9 of 11 with 2 pushes. You have got an official play on the big game of the weekend.
I have 1 unit straight in on this one, and in total agreement with what Nigel said there. There's not much for me to add, to be honest with you. I'm going with both teams to score at plus 102. I just feel that Leeds have got that incredible home record, that incredible home support against them, and they will kind of sense, those Leeds fans, that their Arsenal counterparts will be a little bit nervous, a little bit edgy, and this opening period of the game is crucial. And I do think Leeds will score against Arsenal for those reasons we've talked about there. That Arsenal have been conceding goals. Obviously, there's Saliba and Timber were out last night, but possibly nursing knocks. But was that just underplaying it a little bit? We're going to wait and see. That would be a blow, obviously, if both of those are missing at the weekend. The assumption would be they'd come back, but we'll have to wait and see. But Leeds are, yes, very strong at home, scoring goals. Arsenal concede them, and I do think that Arsenal will also score against its Leeds defence as well. We saw that crazy game, albeit away, Leeds against Newcastle. So not necessarily suggest it's going to be a 4-3 affair, but I do expect both teams to score. So all the stats have been trotted out already, so I won't repeat them. But at plus 102, I think that's decent value in this one. Both teams to score, 1 unit on it for me.
1 unit for Jack. Both teams to score yes in the game at Ellen Road. Let us know your best bets for the big game of the weekend in the comments, and indeed all of the games. Let us know who you're betting in the Premier League this weekend. Futures, incidentally, from Bet Rivers, minus 250 Arsenal for the title, plus 300 Manchester City Villa, plus 1400. Let's get to the City game next, Nigel. They're away at Spurs here. This is Sunday, 11:30 Eastern. City are minus money favourites. Spurs 19th in the home-only table, but somehow they finished 4th in the league phase of the Champions League. Make that make sense from a betting point of view, Mr. Seeley.
Well, it's exactly copy and paste from last season, isn't it? Exactly the same, but they're doing it in the Champions League instead of the Europa League. Whenever they play that theme music for European football, Tottenham come alive. On a Saturday afternoon when they've got lesser opposition, or not this case, but they've got lesser opposition at home at the Tottenham Stadium, they don't turn up. This game has always been a good sort of match for Tottenham in recent years. They won this fixture to 2-0 at the start of the season, which everyone was thinking Tottenham could really do something under Thomas Frank, and now roll on. Everyone want him out. They haven't won a league match in this year, which is incredible, really. But it's in very, very similar state of affairs. For Man City, though, it's an equally kind of mind-boggling fact that they're still in the Premier League title race after their form recently in recent weeks, some really bad performances, and they're still in there because of Arsenal dropping key points. Where do we go from here? Difficult, but on the back of both sides, on the back of a Champions League match, you would have to say that Tottenham put much more energy into their win over in Germany than Man City did at home to Galatasaray. Very professional from Pep, 2 goals, shut up shop with a very inexperienced back four. Gahey returned to the side here, Semenyo returned to the side here as well, which boosts their attacking threat and their bolsters up their defence. Not really quite sure on the money line, but the one thing I took from last night from the Tottenham game is our old friend, myself and Jack's mate, Dominic Solanke, looked good. His goal was very well taken. He burst through with a pace. I never realised how much pace he had. He looked fresh, and he left the defender for dead, took a nice first touch and put it with his left foot into the corner, the bottom hand corner of the goalkeeper's right side. Great finish from Solanke. Solanke back, I think, helps Tottenham immensely. I think he's going to be really, really pumped to try to force his way into the England squad. Obviously, England need cover for Harry Kane. We've only got Ollie Watkins really as another out-and-out striker. He's not having the greatest of seasons. Had a good run from Solanke. You could see him go on to the plane to America. So I've got, battle of 2 strikers. Haaland minus 134 on the road. We know that Haaland at minus 134 is usually a bet. He scored his first goal from open play in midweek in the Champions League. But Solanke being back and looking good, I think he could be a player now who you could be betting at nice prices to score at any time. And he's certainly a nice price here. He's their main striker. He's back from form. He scored 2 goals in his last 3 or 2 goals in his last 2 matches. And he's plus 270 to score any time. That's my lean. Dominic Solanke to get on the score sheet. In a game where I do expect goals, and I think both teams will score.
Spurs did beat City in the reverse fixture, as you mentioned. Nigel, Jack, it's just one of those quirky things, isn't it? Spurs have got a good record. Certainly away from home, at home, not so much, but they do give City a game, bizarrely. I mean, do we trust City at minus 152 here? What are your thoughts on what's your lean?
Yeah, I wouldn't be taking them at that price either, but I do think Nigel and myself are obviously sharing the same script writer, because I was going to start my piece by saying the same thing. Spurs saving their best form for Europe while they slide down the Premier League. Does that sound familiar? It does, very much like the last season under Ange, and echoes of this. What will the Spurs fans want Manchester City to win this so that they kind of close the gap or put more pressure on Arsenal? That happened last season as well, didn't it? When there was a real hoo-ha about that going on. So probably not at this stage of the season, given their form and their feelings towards Thomas Frank at the moment. But they do tend to put up good performances against Manchester City. Maybe we've seen it in the Champions League where they're up against the elite opposition, that maybe it does suit them to play Manchester City. Will have more of the ball and will come at them rather than being any kind of low block, etc. But their form at home is shocking. 1 win in the last 8 league games as well. That came against that Crystal Palace side that we've been fading for some while now. 2 wins in 11 at home is terrible. But my lean in the same vein is I'm going towards a player as well. Antoine Semenyo for me, obviously not available to play last night, so comes back into the side. You would expect him to start, certainly. You'd expect him probably to get the 90 minutes as well. To score or assist at plus 105, again, I like that plus money play to get both those assets on side for a player that can provide both those things. So obviously we'll come into this fresh, and also Spurs have had struggles down their wide areas, given the fact they've got injuries there. So Jed Spence will probably play out on the right. Might well see Odogie over there on that left-hand side where Semenyo will patrol. But started his form with Manchester City really, really well. And let's not forget he scored 11 in 22 in the Premier League so far this season as well. 3 and 4 for City. He's got the assist in his pocket as well. So plus 105, that would be where my lean goes for this one.
Let's get to Liverpool versus Newcastle. Put this one up the running order because I think it'll be one of those games that takes a lot of money. Big handle on this one, always is. Liverpool minus 139, Newcastle plus 325. The tie the same. And this is 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night local. Memories of 4-3s, Nigel, down the years. There's always think goals. Over 2.5 has hit 6 of the last 8, as has both teams to score. Yes, the Asian line over 2.75. That's going to be bet, surely. What's your thoughts on this one? We going goals?
I'm not so sure. I mean, historically, this is the game. I mean, famously, that Stan Collymore match and Kevin Keegan back in the day was a crazy match. The match in the reverse fixture in the season was a last-minute winner for Newcastle, for Liverpool, 3-2, when the young kid scored and the crowd went crazy. I mean, it's always been a wild match, but I just think that the placing of this at the timing of the season, it might not live up to those expectations. I mean, last year, early in the season, this match would be a 3-goal Asian market. The line would be 2.5. It's heavily juiced up for over 2.5, and it's a 2.75 game. But as far as, I mean, you put it up the market because of the history between the two of them, but I don't think this is anywhere near going to be a classic that we've had before. Liverpool strolled through the win 6-0 in midweek against Qarabağ. I mean, they did what they have to do. Again, another team that turned it on in the Champions League. And Newcastle really put in a shift again in Paris to get the 1-1 draw, and should have won that match. So it's whether they can go again. I've said I thought they're leg weary. They've got injuries, defensive injuries. Dan Burn come back, which was a good thing. I'm not convinced by Waltermada yet. I think he's got something in him, but he's having a bad run of form. Wissa, again, I think he's more of an impact player than the start player. When Liverpool used to line up with an informed Mo Salah and Newcastle with Isaac, there's goals. But this at the moment, these two sides aren't doing it in the Premier League. I think this is very difficult to call. Really no bet for me. But if I was gonna have a bet, I would actually go against what I think the public will do. I think I'd actually be going under 2.75 goals here, because I think both of these sides, well, Newcastle in particular, are tired. They've got a massive League Cup semi-final, second leg against Manchester City in midweek. They've got some huge road matches coming up in the league, and they've got the playoffs in the Champions League as well. And so I'd probably be going under. I don't think it's the right time of the season. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see this being 4-4 because of the history and the way they play. But I just think this is this could be a good time to go against the public money.
Maybe a value contrarian play from Mr. Seeley on this one. Just a minor lean, but no bet for Nige. Gravenberch could be playing centre-half again as he did against Qarabağ. Not that it really mattered. Don't know if Canato Gomez are going to be fit for this one. Gomares could be back for Newcastle. Jack, what you got for us in this one?
Yeah, I'm agreed. It's a tough one to call. I think the market's got it about right. And I'd probably lean that way as well if you're looking at the mainline markets as far as going against what the expectation is, because of that fatigue factor. And also Liverpool, like we've said with Spurs, like Nigel's mentioned there as well, they've been saving their best form really for the Champions League, and they've been pretty inconsistent both in terms of goal scoring and results in the Premier League recently. So that win last night certainly took a little bit of the pressure off Arne Slot, but he'll be back on again ready for this one. I just had a bit of a stat that kind of caught my eye, hence why I've gone with this as my lean. I wanted to mention it for people, really. Not that Mo Salah's much of a surprise for people, but I've took him here to assist at plus 280. He's obviously returned from AFCON and been involved. He got 90 minutes and an assist on his return to the Premier League last weekend. He got 90 minutes and a goal in the Champions League last night. Not so much competition on that right-hand side. You'd assume Szoboszlai would be central, so they'll play him out there again. Maybe Arne Slot's kind of building the bridges with him and giving him plenty of game time, plenty of minutes. He doesn't like being taken off, does he? And so with Newcastle's fatigue and injury issues, both in the middle and defensively, I think that Liverpool will have chances in here. So I have gone with Salah, who loves playing against Newcastle. 17 appearances for Liverpool against Newcastle. He scored 10 goals and assisted 9. And his assists, he's had at least one assist in his last 7 appearances against Newcastle. So I'm going to take that run to continue because it's plus 280, and I just wanted to highlight that stat. So a tough one to call, but hopefully it'll be entertaining to watch. That'd be my lean.
Just a lean, Mo Salah 2 assist at plus 280. Jack's leans have been flying recently. Take note of the leans as well as the official plays. But speaking of official plays, we got a couple of units on the next game. Villa, Brentford, 9 a.m. Sunday, Eastern. Villa minus money just at minus 106. They're at home to Salzburg tonight in the Europa League, but they've already qualified for the last 16 via a top 8 finish and could end up finishing the top 2 to guarantee a home second leg from here on in Europe. They've been brilliant at home, as we know. Jack, they'd won 11 on the spin and then lost to Everton. Brentford have been a bit unlucky, but they've done us dirty, or they did at least last week. An official play from yourself first up.
Yeah, these sides have burnt me in the last 2 weeks, so I wasn't going to go in, but at the price, I couldn't resist taking Villa again at home. So I am for a unit at minus 106. I think they're a little bit undervalued given their absolute strength in Villa Park. Bounced back from that defeat to Everton really well. A victory against Fenerbahce. That win at Newcastle, we know how hard it is to go there, regardless of Newcastle's issues, to go and win that. Only 4 points off Arsenal. So it's still, they've still got an interest, despite Unai Emery's suggestions they're not going to finish in the top 5. I'm not sure I bought into that argument. And as you've already said, Europa tie tonight, which would have put me off going into this officially if it hadn't been for the fact that they have already qualified. They're guaranteed a top 8 finish. So you would expect some kind of rotation. Brentford, a couple of key injuries for them as well. Mikhail Damsgaard being out for a while now is key to their creativity. They've also lost Ayer as well defensively. And they looked laboured last weekend and created very, very little. We talked about Thiago. They had one shot on target against Nottingham Forest side, who should have been really there for certainly attacking in the whole 90 minutes. So that was poor. As for Villa, defensively excellent against Newcastle. Martinez was kind of in his peak form. I think that defensive partnership with Konsa and Torres are very, very strong. One of the best in the Premier League. And I think that kind of makeup that they've got will lend itself to being able to battle against Brentford's key weapon, Thiago. They've also recalled Leon Bailey from his loan spell, so he's back in the mix. They're looking at getting Douglas Luiz in before this one as well to add to the midfield, because they have lost McGinn and Tillman, so that'll be crucial. And they've also added their old favourite, Tammy Abraham, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of involvement he gets in this one. He knows the setup obviously very well. So they've added some numbers, which are probably crucial given the games that they've got coming up now. They're unbeaten versus Brentford at Villa Park in the Premier League. They won this 3-1 last season and 4-0 in 2022. And so that 11-game winning sequence I'm going to take for them to get back to winning ways in this one. Third best home record versus the 16th best road record. I'm going to take Villa to win at minus 106.
You're tailing this one, Nigel?
Yeah, official play. Again, the price done it for me. I think it's a big time this season for Villa. Their next 6 matches, 5 of them at home. And they're all winnable, really. And, they domestic and in European football, he's had to get some players in because of the injuries they have to Tillemans and McGinn, which is blows for him. There was a big negative for them last week at Newcastle when they won that match. I think I'm going to forgive them the defeat against Everton because what's gone on prior to that was exceptional. And now Abraham comes in, it gives some extra cover for Ollie Watkins. So I like Villa, I do. I think Brentford now, sometimes we see teams, don't we, that get to this stage of the season and then they kind of know they're safe, sit back and think, okay, we're all right here. And I don't know whether Brentford might be that side. Their last 2 performances, they haven't been at it, especially that home defeat last week against Forest. And then that was a crazy match. No one would have seen that one coming. So, yeah, I think Villa at minus 106 here is a great price. I like it. Slightly worried about the injuries they have, Tillemans in particular. But I think they've got enough in this squad now to beat this Brentford side. And we said about Brentford, I know their last couple of results on the road have been pretty good, but they have been against fairly weak opposition in the Premier League. But prior to that, their road form is shocking. It was always good at home. And I think exactly the same happened last season for Brentford. I think at the beginning of the season, they were absolutely excellent at home. And then they went second half, they couldn't win a home game. And they were awful away from home. In the second half of the season, they were good on the road. Hopefully that doesn't repeat here. And Villa win this. So Villa for me, minus 106. I like it. I'll be betting it. And I think they'll win.
Villa are plus 400 for a top 2 finish. Nigel, is that worth any sort of interest, or do you think the top 2 in the Premier League is locked up with Arsenal and City?
I think it'd be a trading price because, like I say, their next few matches are all at home, and I think that they'll pick up points. So, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. They've got Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle, Leeds all at home and then Bournemouth away. That's a good easy run. And then Wolves away. That's a good run up until March, and that they could easily win all those. And then we're not talking about them as a short price for top 2. We're short price for them to win the league, whereas Man City have got a tough run. So yeah, I think I don't think it will be a bet that I'd want to take that I think is going to finish in the top 2. But certainly, if you wanted to take a trading position and get a price that's going to be shorter, that could be the bet.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think
that Newcastle match, by the way, is in the FA Cup. So their league run is actually Bournemouth away. So Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton at home, Leeds at home, Wolves away. Winnable.
All winnable. I think they've been unlucky with a couple of refereeing decisions, haven't they? I think the PGML, whatever they're called, have come out and said Garner should have been sent off against Everton, and also I can't remember the Arsenal player that maybe should have gone in that game at Emirates when they were only 1-0 down. It's been an amazing run. Yeah, I won't put anyone off that. As Nigel says, they've got a decent little run coming up. Manchester United Fulham next up. Sunday 9 a.m. this one. United minus 182. Fulham plus 440. The tie plus 350. Nigel, United under Carrick, 2 wins from 2 and against the top 2. But last 3 times they've been minus money, they've drawn them all. Are we saying they've officially turned the corner now, or not?
We've been saying
is this the type of game? Is this the game that they've got to win?
We've been saying this since David Moyes won 2 on the spin after Alex Ferguson. I mean, how many times have we said that Man United are back and then suddenly after 2 brilliant? But the point is that their last 2 performances have been absolutely exceptional. Harry Maguire's been the man of the match in the 2 of them. Absolutely a rock. Mbeumo's returned in great form. Cunha was brilliant in the match against Arsenal. Great goal. And, if you watch that match, you'd think they were the team going for the Premier League title rather than trying to get into a top 5, top 6 position. But we've been lulled into false dawns with Manchester United so many times. And there is a sort of part of me at Man United that thinks when they play the bigger teams, like the Manchester City and Arsenal, they raise their games. They've done against Man City, even under Amorim. But when they're at home against the Bournemouths or the Fulhams, these are the times when they struggle. Fulham have got a pretty decent record against them. The one thing I would say, in the last 7 meetings between the 2 sides, 6 of them have been under 2.5 goals. It was 1-1 in the reverse fixture as well. They notoriously are low-scoring games historically in recent years between these 2 sides. But Fulham are always good for a goal. Always, wherever they go, they're good for a goal. They've lost 1 in their last 8. Their only loss was against Arsenal. So it's good for a goal here. And I think that Fulham I think Fulham go here and I think they'll score. I'm not going to bet both teams to score, but I would bet that man I mentioned, Mbeumo. Mbeumo, I think, is flying at the moment since he's come back. The system that Carrick is playing, he's playing a more advanced role. He looks great on the counter-attack. His runs from deep, straight through. Cunha and him have sort of formed up a partnership at the moment. And Mbeumo to score any time at plus 180 would be my lean in this match. No official play. But hairdressers across Manchester may be getting a bit excited for this bloke because they've got Fulham, Tottenham and West Ham, and then they've won 5 on the bounce. And for a good PR stunt, you've got to get hold of that fella and get cut in his hair and make sure that he's all right. But I think that, if you think Man United are back, they might win 5 on the trot. But I do think that, I think that Fulham loss was against Man City. I said Arsenal. I'll read him another note here. But I do think that there could be goals. I think Fulham are good for a goal. Man United are definitely good for a goal in the way this is going. And Mbeumo, anytime goal scorer, would be my lean at plus 118.
Let's get Jack's thoughts on this one. I mean, the interesting thing, and Nigel mentioned it before, is like, you get the Brentfords and Brightons and Bournemouth, and they get sort of, 6s and 7s, and you think, oh, maybe a top 6 finish. Fulham are probably in that category now because they're 7th at the minute, which is incredible. The one interesting, amongst other interesting things, United can't play the same way against Fulham that they played against City and at Arsenal. Surely, surely Fulham are going to sit in a little bit. So the game might look a bit different, Jack. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. The first thing I'll say is, if you don't mind, lads, I'll contact my hairdresser and get him to speak to that lad about getting some PR in rather than you guys. Is that all right? Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I'll take that one.
My hairdresser's downstairs cooking breakfast for me. So
very nice.
I'm Paula's out, you see.
punchline was worth waiting for.
Oh, dear.
Double egger. Yeah, this is a really interesting game for me, I think, because it's a real educational one, because we've seen it, like, as you've already talked about it. The Man United players, Folkestons go hand in hand. They can get themselves up for those games against Manchester City and against Arsenal. Can they go and do it here? We'll learn a lot about this Manchester United side under Michael Carrick in this particular fixture, because it's one of the ones that normally go, actually, we can't really be bothered. But they have got some key players. I've actually fallen on exactly the same lean as Nigel in this one. Brian Mbeumo to score, plus 118. Was that lean? United have got some really good attacking processes across the season, to be honest. They're scoring the third most goals. They've got the third best expected goals as well. So it all marries in quite nicely. Put 3 goals past Arsenal, which is no mean feat, of course. Bruno Fernandes pulling the strings, and Mbeumo really enjoying that and making the most of it. Obviously, they've had Cunha and Sesko on the bench in the last couple of games, keeping the other players on their toes. So with Dorgo out for this one, I'll be interested to see if Cunha comes in on that left-hand side, or what the tactic is under Carrick here. As I say, you would expect Fulham will want to kind of keep this one quite tight and sit a little bit deeper rather than come at United and allow themselves to be a counter-attack. But we will wait and see. But yeah, as far as Mbeumo is concerned, couple of goals in his last both games under Michael Carrick, 18 appearances, 8 goals for Man United this season in the Premier League. And I'm going to take him to add to that here as a lean at plus money, plus 118.
United top 4 plus 125, top 6 minus 335. Don't think there's any sort of trading wriggle room in those two prices. Let's
But
get
what made
to...
me, I just talked about that. Man United are a lot shorter to finish in the top 4. Sorry, a lot bigger to finish in the top 4 than Liverpool, but a lot shorter on the Premier League market than Liverpool, which I couldn't understand. So, like, Liverpool are like 200 to 1 to win the Premier League, and Man United were like 66 to 1. But Liverpool were like heavy minus money to finish in the top 4, and Man United are plus 125 to
Maybe it's one of those things that there is a belief that if United do get it right with no European football, they are more likely to keep getting it right.
There's Man United. The Man United either finish finish first or 14th, whereas Liverpool's finishing position is either going to be
correct
3rd or 5th. That's it.
Yeah, a little bit 6-7. Don't go down that route. Chelsea West Ham next for us. Saturday 12:30 Eastern. Chelsea minus 210. West Ham plus 510. The tie plus 360. Jack, Chelsea off the back of that good win against Napoli. 5 wins from 6 under Rossini, and certainly the best of the lot in midweek here. I mean, they are short, but I don't know. What do you got?
It's a no-bet game, really, to be honest, because I think that game against Napoli is huge, was huge. Brilliant win, to take the lead, then go behind and then come back to win it. Showed a lot of resilience, showed a lot of, obviously, talent. Napoli, I think there's only 1 defeat in 20 Champions League games at home for them. I don't think they've been beaten at home since December 24. So I think it was a really, really good Chelsea performance. We know they're capable of that on that day. And they've got a good record against West Ham. They're minus 210. Obviously can't be looking at that. But with Chelsea, I just always feel they'll give you chances. And I saw an interesting stat from last week is that no side had more attempts inside the box than Crystal Palace last week against Chelsea. So it shows you they do throw up good chances. And found a way to concede against Crystal Palace as well, with a bit of a scramble towards the end. So ruined any win to nil bets in that one. So I'm going down the same route just to put a lean forward for the show. I'm going for Chelsea to win, but with both teams to score. And that boosts that minus 210 up to plus 148. And I think that then becomes a little bit more interesting with the West Ham side that have picked up, obviously, in the last couple of weeks, couple of wins. And we've said it before, that Crescencio Somerville, Jared Bowen, wide partnership as such is a Nuno thing. They've also got a new coach in helping him out, his assistant manager, who is an attack-minded, progressive manager in his days managing teams. So that's an interesting concept as well. So I think there's a goal in it. They have a terrible record against Chelsea, so I'll probably take that to keep going. And Chelsea will make hard work of it. I wouldn't want to be taken. I was interested initially in West Ham on the Asian handicap, but at +1, I couldn't see anything much more really than a push. Probably, I think Chelsea win it, and Adam Both team to score gives you some plus money.
Nigel, what do you think? West Ham on a little mini run at the minute. They've won the last 3 all comps, not won 4 on the spin for a few years now. Have they got a chance on the Asian line, or is this a Chelsea easy win? What do you
I think it's a good time to play Chelsea after that Napoli match, but obviously he had the luxury of resting Cole Palmer, who come on as a substitute, so Cole Palmer's going to be probably fit to start here, which I think will have a negative for West Ham in the betting market. I think if Cole Palmer starts, Chelsea will start even shorter. João Pedro positive was really good in the midweek, and I think that's a really good win for him himself, Liam Rosenior. I was a big doubter of him. I didn't think he would be the man who would be the next Chelsea manager. I didn't think he had the CV to be that, but to go to Napoli and beat go to Naples and beat Napoli under the watch of Antonio Conte as well, and out tactic him. I mean, he changed the formation, he made the substitutions, and he done it well. Done a brilliant job. So tick in the box for him. 5 wins in 6, an attacking style that Chelsea fans are happy with. 16 goals scored in that period. 10 of the last 12 matches for Chelsea, both teams have scored, has been yes. 9 of the last 12 over 2.5 goals. 5 of the last 6 West Ham matches, both teams have scored yes, and 6 of their last 6 over 2.5 goals. But bet rivers aren't silly. The last 5 head-to-heads between the two of them over 2.5 goals was cashed. So they put the line at 3.5. And 3 over 3 on the Asian market is still minus money as well. I was going to put this in as an official play if I could get 2.75 or like a minus 135 or 140 on the 2.5. But the cost of the line is 3.5 or 3 at minus money on the Asian. I've decided to leave it. But I do think there's goals in this match. And Jack's way to get with it is probably the best way, actually. Chelsea to win on the money line of both teams to score, because they do give up. And I think the one thing Chelsea are weak at is the goalkeeper and their defence. From an attacking point of view, Pedro and Palmer play together, and obviously Fernandes as well. They've got an attacking 3 there that have got something about them, and I think that they'll score, and I think they'll concede as well. So goals on my angle, Chelsea to win as goals as well. That'll be the way to go.
It's interesting what you say about the back line. I mean, Reece James played centre-half in midweek. He's been swapping and changing, hasn't he, at the moment? West Ham minus 200 to be relegated, incidentally, just to sign that one off. Forest Palace next, Sunday, 9 a.m. Nigel's got an official play in this one, Forest. Forest the minus money, but only just at minus 106. Palace plus 295, the tie plus 250. Still a bit of residual beef between the two after their European campaigns were switched ahead of this season. So the atmosphere will be lively. Forest in action tonight in the Europa League. Very, very small chance of making the top 8. Nigel, what do we think here? Are we still fading Palace? Or has it got to a price now where you think, oh, that's a bit too tempting? What do you think?
I think you've got to. I think you've got to keep fading Palace. I'm slightly worried about the Europa League match tonight, because I think Forest will go strong. I think it's a match they have to win, and I think they'll go strong. But I just think it's all the stuff that's coming out of Crystal Palace rather than Forest. I mean, we haven't had a good run this show, as you can see from the figures, which we're always transparent about. But the one thing we have called absolutely spot on is the demise of Crystal Palace, and we called it way before anyone else has said it. And everything that we said is happening in front of our eyes. They're a team in absolute turmoil. They're single figures now to be relegated. And I think they're a bet to be relegated, you know. I honestly
Plus 800.
I think they're a bet. They lose this one, they're down to $5, and then they've got some really, really tough matches to go. I mean, no wins in 11, lost their last 3, conceding goals from positions that you never expect Crystal Palace to see goals in, corners, set pieces. They were so strong. Obviously, Gay's gone. Obviously, the managers wants to go as well. We've highlighted that. I think you're better off to let him go, you know, and just bringing someone like Gareth Southgate to just set it up. I know Palace fans won't want to hear that, but he'll make you solid again. He's a legend down there, and I think you need something to change, because at the moment he's just going down and down. I don't think Steve Parish and the owners at Crystal Palace know what to do here. The other big thing for me is Wharton suspended, got sent off. I mean, when you look at the players they have got missing, and then you lose your best player, Mateta doesn't look the player that he was. I think his head's turned for summer move, potentially wherever Glasner goes. It could be Tottenham, could be Man United. We don't know where Glasner goes, but I think Mateta might be looking at that. And they're just in freefall, absolute freefall. And it's not from anything positive that I saw from Nottingham Forest, although they had their best win in the season at Brentford. It's that negativity around Crystal Palace that still makes me want to oppose them at a price of around even money. I do think this line might drift a little bit, because I think Forest will go strong in the Europa League, and I think, you know, they that match they have there may be a factor. But I just think that this is just all to do with the continued negativity coming out of Selhurst Park. And I think at -106, I've got to keep riding that train until something goes wrong. So yeah, I'm going to have 1-0 on Nottingham Forest to miss. The only good thing for Nottingham Forest is they're at home in the Europa League against French France. It's not like they're away, so they don't have much travel to go into. But it's not ideal. But I do think that the negativity from Crystal Palace is such that we've got to keep getting involved.
Yeah, just 3 points between the two. Forest plus 550 to go down. Palace plus 800. That could easily flip with a positive Forest result, which Nigel is tipping. Jack, what do you like at the City ground for this one?
Yeah, a little bit of money for that relegation for Palace, because we talked about it on the live show earlier in the week, and I said they were a good price then. It was plus 900, so a little bit of money, still going lower.
Jack, sorry, Jack. I just want to their next fixture. This is Palace next, so they've got Forest away, right? Which we think they're going to lose. They go to arch rivals Brighton, who will have away the next game. They'll have nothing better to. Then they host Burnley at home, and then they host Wolves. Now those 4 matches are absolutely crucial. If they say pick up 2 points from those 4 matches, I mean they're 4-1 short. If they lose all 4 of them, which is the way they can at the moment, this is a team that was 6-1 to finish in the 4th. They were rated the 19th best team in Europe, 18th best team in Europe, and now the decline is incredible. And that was always coming, and they haven't done anything about it. Sorry.
No, absolutely right. All good. I like Forest to win this as well. The only reason I didn't make it an official play was because of the fact of them playing tonight. So I was a little bit undecided, and I liked some other plays. So I kind of kept my powder dry on that one. And of course, there's some bad blood, as Nigel's already talked about, but that's probably been intensified this week because Forest have bid for Matera, haven't they? And Palace have turned it down, saying they're about 5 million short. So anyone who can get on cards here, I think that could be a very feisty clash, this one. Sean Dyche will get his side up for it. No, this is a massive game to go and get a win. And I could see a Forest win, and I can see it be low scoring. So my actual lean in this one, because I think Forest will keep Palace out. It's a case of whether they can get a goal or two. Under 2.5 goals at -127 is my lean. But on the note that Nigel talked about there, Palace being poor at defending set pieces, look at the likes of Milenkovic, look at those big lads that Forest have got. Wouldn't be surprised to see them getting attempts on target and scoring goals as well. And cards. This has got a bit of everything about it, I think, other than goals or an away win. So yeah, we'll take a low scoring home win.
Wolves Bournemouth, 10 a.m. Saturday Eastern. Wolves plus 215, Bournemouth plus 117, tie plus 260. Wolves' first loss after 5 unbeaten last time out against City, but they did all right. They restricted City, admittedly, who didn't start Haaland fairly well. Nigel, you've got a 1U play on this one. Bournemouth have bounced back themselves, haven't they, with some good results as well, including a deserved win over Liverpool. This is a tricky one for me. Where are you going?
I'm going with the home team. If we had the old hot dog system, I'd put Wolves in on the money line at plus 215 here, but obviously we haven't got that, so we've got to put.
You still do if you want.
No, I'm going to go with Wolves plus a quarter of a goal at -109. I like what I see from Wolves. I think they did okay against Man City 2-0. I mean, they knew they made it competitive. Man City didn't put them to bed, and their results at home have been good. A 3-0 win against West Ham, a big win in the FA Cup, a draw with Newcastle, losing narrowly to some of the top teams, Wolves and Arsenal. Liverpool and Arsenal for Wolves. And I just got a feeling that Bournemouth have to. I mean, I've got it wrong in the last 2 matches. I've opposed Bournemouth in the last 2 matches. I went with Liverpool last time against Bournemouth. There was a huge gamble on Liverpool. They got bet off the boards from around about even money to like -125 before kickoff, and then Bournemouth scored that last goal winner. They outplayed Brighton at Brighton when I went with Brighton, but I think that was more of Brighton being poor that night than Bournemouth, and that was another market move. There was a huge move against Brighton and for Bournemouth in that match. But I just got a feeling, I mean, the goals of Semenyo, leaving Semenyo has to take its toll on them at some stage. And they've got a few injuries out for this match as well. And I know, they're the overs kings. The matches they've played have always been high scoring. On the road, their goals are wild. And I think Wolves could get something from this match. The other reason is that terrible road record that you said there. Only 1 win on the road in 12 matches this season, which come right at the start of the season. And that was at Tottenham, so no surprise there. But I just think that Wolves have some genuine belief of them. They've got some players now, young players who are playing, who brought into the side, who are playing without any fear. who actually don't realise the predicament they're in, and even though they're down, the fans in the last 4 or 5 weeks have seen some fight, and I think this will be a real tough match for Bournemouth at the moment. I don't see really how Bournemouth should be plus 117 this match compared to Wolves at plus 215 on what I've seen in the last month or so. I think Wolves are a lot better than what that price suggests. But I do think this could potentially be a high-scoring game, and I think Bournemouth will score without Semenyo. So for that reason, I want to have the draw as on my side as well, and I think that's the best way to do it. So Wolves plus a half, which means that obviously, as long as Wolves do not lose this match, we'll be picking up some money, and the price is minus 109. So that is my next official play, my third, and that's my final official play.
It does feel more like a pick'em contest, I must admit. And yeah, we were a lot of overs away with Bournemouth, as we've talked about. But Semenyo missing, it's got to be a factor, even though they've got some good players in. And I think they've signed some interesting players as well. Jack, you've got a lean on a prop bet for us in this one.
Yeah, I've got one either side, actually. I think it's goalsy as well. Be an interesting game to watch, which way it goes. Obviously, cheering on Wolves in this one. And for them, you've got to bear in mind, obviously, we talked about Bournemouth's record. They've shipped 30 goals on the road this season. One player for Wolves has caught my eye outside of the usual suspects that we've talked about before, is their defender who's spent a bit of time in the MLS as well. So, Yerson Mosquera. We don't put up shots on target bets here as either a lean or as official plays. But if this price is around when you're listening to it, I'd be interested in it. He had 5 shots on the road at Manchester City last weekend. 4 of those came in the box and he had 1 on target. He's plus 440 for a shot on target here against this Bournemouth side that concedes so many. So I think that's massive. He's plus 1150 to score. He's had a shot on target in 3 of his last 4 games. So those of you that like those kind of props, that's one that I'd earmark for this week. And also I've gone my official lean would be Evan Nielsen to score for Bournemouth. Been in great form recently. He's got 3 goals in his last 4 games for Bournemouth. Scored 38 league goals at Bournemouth, which is the 5th highest in the Premier League, and their XG is 6th highest. So we know they can do that. They've scored 6 in the 3 games post Semenyo. And with Cliver and Tavernier out injured, it could well be that Evan Nielsen will find himself on penalty duties, should there be one. He's played every minute of the last 2 games, and he did score against Wolves in the FA Cup last season for Bournemouth as well. So plus 175, I think, is a decent price in a game which should see goals.
10 a.m. Saturday, also Brighton, Everton. Quick leans from the boys on this one. Jack, you can go first. Brighton are minus 125 here. Just 1 loss at home in the last 11 in the Premier League, but only 1 win in their last 5. Difficult team to get right for me at the minute. What do you think?
Yeah, just 1 win in 10 in the league across all venues as well. And they are difficult to get, and I don't see enough about them to go and get a win here. So I'm going to take the other 2 results. I was a bit surprised you can get Everton and the tie in a double chance at minus 105. I was very tempted to go with that as an official play as well. But I would say Brighton are strong at home. That 1 defeat and only 1 win in 5. That was against Burnley. So not massive. And Everton, as we often see with sides that get a new stadium and are used to having fervent support in their old stadium, have struggled a bit at home, but have been a lot better on the road. And after 3 defeats in their first 4 on the road this season, it's only 1 defeat in the last 7, and that one come at Chelsea. So I'm going to take them and get the tie on side. So avoid defeat, and we cash at minus 105 as my lean.
Just the lean, but I will be betting that. Nigel, Everton unbeaten in 4. What do we think?
Yeah, but not doing much. A lot of draws between, a lot of draws in recent matches in the Brighton and Everton matches. Everton's combined XG in their last 3 matches is 2.69, which is like the lowest in the Premier League at the moment. This is Moyesville. And it's also going to be a match where Everton aren't going to have any possession. It's up to Brighton to break them down, which usually isn't a very good thing here.
Nope.
6 of the last 7 Brighton matches both teams have scored have been yes, but 6 of the last 10 have been under 2.5 goals, which shows you there's been a lot of 1-1 draws. That's the kind of scoreline I like here. Everton 2 wins in 9. 8 of the last 9 Everton matches have seen under 2.5 goals. I don't think this is going to be very entertaining. I think it'll be a lot of possession for Brighton. Everton with the low block trying to hit the counter attack, and I just fancy under 2.5 goals here is my lean. And it is minus 105. I think it's quite not a bad price as well. So can't see many goals in this one. And it's not a most entertaining match against. I think it's a crucial time for Brighton at the moment. Very disappointing this year.
Their season could go 1 or 2 ways, I think, couldn't it?
Very interesting time. Got a cup run. They've got a big cup match. Brighton season's a little bit up and down at the moment.
Sunderland Burnley is the Monday night game, 3 p.m.
Whoa, what
Eastern.
a cracker!
Wow.
Whoa.
And we've got an official play from Jack on this one. Sunderland minus 148, Burnley plus 430, tie plus 270. Sunderland only one win in their last 8, but they are still unbeaten at home. Burnley have shown a little bit more, Jack. I mean, Sunderland, I think, deserve to be favourites, but I'm not quite sure they should be minus 148. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the running order must be upside down here. Fancy Sunderland Burnley being the last game, Monday night soccer. But I've gone with my tried and tested with Burnley games this season, and it's both teams to score. Yes, it's plus money, so I made it a 1-unit play. This is cashed in 7 of Sunderland's 11 home games as well. And 9 of 11 on the road for Burnley. So it's there. The key element for me that made my mind up with this one is the fact of Granit Xhaka being missing for Sunderland. We saw the impact it had last weekend. They were 3-0 down at half-time to a West Ham side that were short on confidence and at home where the pressure was on, and they fell apart. And I just wonder if his leadership and his ability to command that team is sadly missed, and we are starting to see them slide down the table. They're in the bottom half now. Look, nothing offensive about that. They had an incredible start to the season, and we expect them to be strugglers. And the fact they're 11th, say, there's no shame in it. It looks like they're going to survive comfortably, but they are starting to regress down to where a similar position to where we want them to be. They have only failed to score once at home. I'll expect that run to continue. Scoring goals, that was against Manchester City in a 0-0 tie. Burnley have only failed to score in 2 road games, but they've kept no clean sheets. So it just seems to me that I think Scott Parker said they need to turn these ties into wins. This has got to be a big opportunity for them against a Sunderland side that I might be starting to struggle a little bit. And with Xhaka missing, I think they'll see a chance that they can go and score goals in it. Three ties on the spin. They need to go for a win, so I think they might come out, if not swinging, certainly in a more positive frame of mind. So I'm taking both teams to score at plus money, plus 104, 1 unit.
When they met in the Championship last season, Burnley were plus 190 to win this game. They're plus 430. Oh, I know, I appreciate that the squads have changed dramatically. Certainly Sunderland have had a big upswing, but a Xhaka-less Black Cats is certainly an issue. Nigel, last word on the weekend slate here. This is Monday night. What's your thoughts?
Well, you would have got heavy. What price would you have got at the start of the season? The last team unbeaten at home in the Premier League is Sunderland.
That's incredible. Yeah, great.
There would have been the outsiders of the whole of the Premier League to be unbeaten, and they are obviously Arsenal losing last week as well. I think that's why you're plus 430, but plus 430 looks a price that I think's a big price, Burnley.
Big.
I really do. I mean, didn't say about last year's fixtures is with 0-0 and 1-0, and the season before was 0-0 and 1-0 as well. I mean, absolute dross fair. Luckily enough for me, I have a neighbourhood watch meeting at 8 o'clock on Monday night, which I'll be going to rather than this. But I do think, let's go out on a high. I think Burnley a big price at plus 430. I'll bet them on the money line. I think Sunderland could be on a massive decline. Without Xhaka, we saw a huge drift for them. West Ham got bet off the boards last week without him. Big negative for him. He doesn't play again here. And I don't think there's much between the two sides. At the start of the season, I think Sunderland were the favourites to get, or very nothing in it, really. So plus 430 does seem a monstrous price for me, and a team that do give it a go on the road. They've just brought in Ward-Prowse as well. I mean, he's a quality player. Didn't do well at West Ham, but I think he'll do well here. I mean, Parker he'll like that. Free kicks, he's going to be a menace. Yeah, why not? Burnley plus 430. Hopefully, when I come back from the meeting, and I might collect, but I'll be watching 0 minutes of this. Trust me.
Brilliant stuff, Nigel, Jack. Thanks for your company. Good luck to one and all. Let us know what you're betting on the Premier League slate this weekend. Get your comments in via the YouTube chat. We're back next week for more EPL previews from all of us. For now, though, it is goodbye.